Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining NextLabs and Siemens for our webinar titled Secure Design Collaboration for the Extended Enterprise. Protect Your IP. My name is Tiffany, and I'm happy to host this webinar. I'm proud to introduce today's speakers, Jason Ensweiler and Jan Leja. Jason is a product manager with Siemens PLM for the industry-leading Teamcenter product. Jason has been responsible for delivering innovative PLM solutions for 18 years in multiple industries, including the aerospace, apparel, automotive, defense, CPG, MRO, and medical device industries. Jan is the Director of Sales Engineering at NextLabs. He is responsible for NextLabs' technical pre-sale activities and works closely with NextLabs customers to address issues around export control compliance, data protection, and secure collaboration. Jan holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Math and Physics from Lycée Saint-Geneviève and a Master of Science degree in Electrical Engineering from the Illinois Institute of Technology. Jan has over 15 years of experience in enterprise software working with global customers in various industries. I would now like to turn the presentation over to Jason.
Hi, everyone. So thank you for the introduction. So today in the webinar, we'll be going over, first thing we're going to be going over is the business drivers behind digital rights management, why it's needed. We'll be touching on the Siemens NextLabs partnership, why we're together and how this benefits the customers, use cases, and then Jan will be going over a demo, and we'll be doing some question and answer. Okay? So the first, just as a level set in every one of these things we do, we always answer the question, what is E-DRM? So E-DRM, Enterprise Digital Rights Management, is the persistent control of access to and usage of digital information regardless of where it exists, be it inside or outside your systems or firewalls. And that's basically, just to sum that up, that's the protection of your file-based intellectual property no matter where it is. Okay, so it's actually the protections on the file itself. And so E-DRM is really the protection of that file-based data. So the first question, I get a lot of these people is, okay, so enterprise digital rights management, why is it important? Well, if you've been, watching the news, some of these are even a little bit older here, you realize there's a lot of things in the news about intellectual property being lost. Anthem gets hit by hackers. IP, Sony got hit by the big famous emails scan where basically all their embarrassing information got sent out and their movies were stolen. More recent and more valid to the PLM industry and to a lot of our customers is things like the F-35, which pretty much the Chinese government copied the F-35 weapon systems and basically built a new generation of stealth fighter directly from that technology. There are other instances that I didn't have here that are more recent, in which case they had four people from a university that actually went and got jobs at a technical company, at a chip circuit company, to basically steal intellectual property. They actually took it back, set up a company in China to produce it, and didn't get caught until they tried to patent the designs that they stole. So there's a lot of things in the news where intellectual property is at risk, and enterprise digital rights management is going to become more important than ever as these kind of stories proliferate. So when I first started working with NextLabs, we came up with 4 main use cases that we wanted to cover for enterprise digital rights management. The first one, which is what we're going to be covering today, is the supply chain and the collaboration between the main the company and tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 type suppliers for designing a product where intellectual property is shared up and down the chain and needs to be protected. The second one is field operations, in which case you're sharing maintenance information with customers, vendors, etc., when they're out there working on your products and servicing them in the field. Third one is customer collaboration, where you're sharing IP with your customers, things like, for instance, government contractors and things like that, where you're sharing product requirements, IP, etc., with them and back and forth and collaborating. And then finally, the engineering and partner and joint venture, which is a classic use case I always like is competimates, in which, you'll have Northrop Grumman and Boeing working on a fighter project together. They're competitors, yet they're working together on these projects. Okay, so these are the four we're covering, but today, the four we cover with our solution. But today, the main one we're going to focus on is supply chain collaboration. So where is the risk? When you're talking about enterprise digital rights management, where do people think the risk is? So this is a survey, and it was done for executives to determine, where they thought the main risks were. And as you can see here, I've marked them in yellow. All of the people, a majority of the risk that the executives believed were insiders. Now, this isn't necessarily malicious. Some of these are negligence, right? And that's the highest right here is negligent insiders. But here's the key. The insiders are going to be people that have access to your data. So PLM is very, very good about protecting access. We have world-class access in Teamcenter, access control, to say who can access it. But you can't do anything about people that actually do have access that don't treat the data with care and accidentally lose it, or even malicious people that have access to the data. So we got together from a partnership perspective, seeing that that's a big need, and we formed a partnership with NextLabs to come up with an end-to-end solution to address this. And so our goals were to automate the digital rights management process. We actually have people that actually do this in a manual way. They actually they protect the files and then send them out manually. And this is a way to automate it and integrate it into the Teamcenter product. Want to allow for secure collaboration, because that's the key here. We don't want a system that basically prevents you from working with your suppliers, vendors, partners, customers. We want to basically enable that, and actually enable that in a way that makes it even more productive for you, because you're confident that your information will be protected. So that's the big key here, secure collaboration. We want to be able to support any file type and device. So that's another key. Today, iPads, mobile phones, every kind of device you could think of, we got to support that kind of information, because that enables collaboration also. Data inside and outside of Teamcenter. That's the key thing here. There's customers that actually even have requirements around data being at rest in Teamcenter protected, no matter where it's at. So we support that with our use case, but we also support data outside of Teamcenter. Once you access the data and you have it on your desktop, it's protected even outside of Teamcenter, so that helps. And one of the key features, and this is a really cool feature, and there's a lot of uses for this, is the ability to expire data. So let's say you're in a SRM type scenario and you have multiple vendors and they're competing to build something for you. If one wins, you can basically turn off the data to the other vendors that didn't win. Or you can use it to, if your employees, like an MRO scenario, you have field service people. If they leave the company or the contractors, you can expire that data. So you can turn off the data at any point. You could even use it to say, for instance, that something is obsolete and I no longer want people to access it. So you turn off access to that data and make them go out and get new data. So there's a lot of potential for that particular feature. So these are the things that we got together with NextLabs and the reason we did, and we're trying to produce. Okay, so here's just to illustrate the point, Teamcenter has world-class access control. We can make sure, we have 50,000 ways to make sure that only the people that need to see your data can go and get into Teamcenter to get it, and get it in the situation that you want to get it. And we do a terrific job of that. However, once the person gets the data, they can send it on any means that they want, like emails, they print it out, they can put it on a thumb drive, they can put it on a shared drive, and then they could share it with people that you don't even know that they're sharing it with inadvertently or on purpose. And those people could share it in any particular way. So really, we do a great job of controlling access, but what happens if that person is not careful with your data? So what we're trying to do here with E-DRM integration is to protect those areas also. So basically protect all the different modes of sharing your data and protect it if you share it with somebody else. Even if that person's supposed to have the data, you can make sure that the downwind people take care of the data also, because they may not be fluent in your data protection policies, et cetera. So they're going to be a bigger risk than somebody that's even internally in your company. Okay, so these would be your suppliers, vendors, et cetera. Okay, so we came up with the NextLabs Teamcenter integration. And as you can see here, here's some nice little screenshots. It supports file-based DRM for security versus via user or workflow-driven document protection. So you can do it via, let's say, you see here on the menu option, I can select something and say I want to protect this, or you can do it via workflow. You could say all as part of the release process, anything that's over a certain classification gets protected. And it's automatically protected, and the data gets put back in the Teamcenter volume. Okay. We also provide the ability to integrate metadata into the DRM process. So as part of this, Teamcenter metadata gets transferred and embedded in the file itself, so or in the protected file itself. So that can be used to drive security via the NextLabs security model or in the future Teamcenter security model. This supports ADA, which is basically our mechanism that handles ITAR and other types of security, and it automates application of DRM protection. So like I said, today everything's manual. A lot of our customers that do it manually. This automates that. Okay, so wanted to go through a use case here, and I think this is, there's nothing like a real-world use case to illustrate what we're trying to accomplish here. So this use case we have a company called Atlas Motor Company, and they're going to be doing some collaboration on an automobile with Acme Engineering, which is one of their suppliers. Okay. So Sally, who's a design engineer from Atlas Motor Company, creates a design, and it requires protection. It's very significant IP. So she's going to go ahead, and what's going to happen is she's going to go into Teamcenter and say, hey, protect me, or it's going to be workflow driven. And some metadata and the file are going to go over to this NextLabs rights management service, in which case they will be encapsulated and encrypted. The metadata and the file will be put into a protected container and basically sent back to the Teamcenter system for storage. Okay. So later on, Joe, who works for Atlas Motor Company, he's a design engineer, internal person. He has proper permissions to open the file. And so he goes into Teamcenter and says, hey, I'm allowed to download this. So I'm going to download that protected file. Okay. And Joe, who's the design engineer, then says, hey, I want to work on it. I need to do some work. Now, how is he going to do this? So he gets in NX just like he does normally, no difference. Gets in NX and he says, hey, I want to open this file. Now their client's going to basically intercept this and going to send the file to the NextLabs Rights Management Service, where they're going to check to see whether Joe has permissions. Joe does have permissions to work on the file. And that file is going to be streamed back to the CAD application. Okay? And basically he's going to start working on the file and he can make changes, etc. Now the cool thing here is this file, just to realize, because it's streamed and it's never unprotected. So the file data is always protected. It's basically this rights management service and the client that keep it, that allow it to stream to the application, interact with it without the user ever even caring. It's still normal operations to them, but it allows us to keep the file protected during even read and write scenarios. Okay. Okay, so now Joe's done. He's done with his changes, but he needs some help from the Acme engineering to finish his work, right? So he's a design engineer. He takes that file and he emails it to Sandra. And normally if he would have done this, that file is open domain. There's no protection on it whatsoever. But because he protected it with rights management, with DRM, Sandra gets the encrypted file, okay? And Sandra needs to work on it. So she's in our system and as somebody that can open it because she's supposed to be working on this. So she's going to do the same thing he did. She's going to go to NX. It's going to open it up, and when she opens it up, it's going to send it to the Digital Rights Management Service and say, hey, I can open this. And then it's going to unencrypt it and send it back to her NXCAD application so she can start working on it. Okay. So she does her work, does the changes that Joe needed, and she's busy. She's working on multiple projects. So she's done with the file, and she's like, oh, okay, so I got to send this off quickly. It's due today. Realizes she sends it to the wrong customer, working with multiple people. And we've all done that. You know, you're logging in, and you do your email, and all of a sudden you type in on your line, and you realize, oh, crap, I had the wrong person. I put Ben, and the second part fills in automatically and send it to the wrong people. So she inadvertently emails Ben, who works at a competing automotive company. Okay, so Ben doesn't know what he's getting. He sees this email from Sandra and says, hey, you know, what is this? So he tends to open the file that he's been sent. So he gets into NX and he opens it up, and pretty much what happens is it's encrypted, and it goes to NextLabs Rights Management Service, and Ben doesn't have permissions. The security hasn't set up for him, so he's not granted access. So the file never gets streamed back to the NXCAD application. He'll get notice that the file's protected, but he can't see it. Okay? So in this case, that data was totally protected. No IP was exposed whatsoever because the file was protected. Okay, so Sandra, very relieved that the file is protected, realizes there are mistakes and sends the file to the correct customer. So Joe gets it, okay, and he's gonna go in and check the file. Just like he did before, he's going to go in, open it up in NX. It's going to be unencrypted and sent back to an NXCAD application. And, hey, the changes that she wanted to make are there, and that's great. So now I got what I needed. So Joe's good. However, and this is where reporting's coming in, you'll have your information security group. And they're going to notice that there was multiple attempts to access the file by a competitor. And that's a breach. So he's going to ask Joe. He's going to say, hey, you know, what's up with this? Why is this data? Because Joe was responsible for that data. It's a question about the erroneous handlings. And he has a talk with the supplier to realize, hey, what happened? Why is this person trying to open it? Luckily, it was protected. So the supplier explains the situation, what happened, and takes responsibility for the mistake. However, the key thing here is no harm's done. The IP is safe. And obviously the supplier will be much more careful next time about collaborating with the IP. Okay. So to illustrate this use case, we set up a demo, and Jan is going to take it from here, and he'll run you through the demonstration.
Thank you, Jason. So in the demonstration, we are going to show the actual integration of the DRM solution with Teamcenter, and as well as showing how the product works in a real-life scenario. And the use case we are using is a supplier collaboration use case with intellectual property protection. And it's actually the same use case that Jason went over at a high level, just showing you in practice how the product works. So for the context of the demo, we have this company, Atlas Motor Company, with let's say, Fortune 500 company. They do design and manufacturing of different vehicles. And in the demo, we have a team of engineers working on a specific project. Let's call it project number 1. But also working on very sensitive design and containing a lot of IP. And then we have a supplier, Acme Engineering, that Atlas Motor Company is working with. And the demo illustrates how the product can be used in both an internal collaboration scenario and an external collaboration with suppliers and partners. So to start the demo, we have Sally, who is a Teamcenter design engineer working on this project number 1, and she works for Atlas Motor Company. And she's working inside Teamcenter. She's logging into the application, and she's working specifically on a CAD file, which is a .prt file in this example. And we'll talk more about the file format that the solution supports during the demo. And what she's going to do, she's going to apply DRM protection to this file and to the data set to make sure the data is protected going forward when the files are leaving Teamcenter, for example. So move to the next slide. So Sally, she's logging into the Teamcenter system. She's working on a project called Toy Car project, and she's been working on a design for a toy car, and she's working on a specific data set, which is if you see the data type on the upper right corner, it's a UGPart type, so a Unigraphics format. And the specific file is a .prt CAD file. So she's working on that. You can see I don't know if it's very visible on the screen, but it's a toy car underscore body .prt file that she's been working on and manipulating, inside Teamcenter. And so what she wants to do, this file contains some very sensitive information, and she wants to make sure the data is protected, and only authorized user will be able to access this file and view the content of the file and even edit the file further. So she's going to apply the NextLabs DRM. And so what she does inside Teamcenter, she clicks Tools, and in the menu, one of the menu items you can see here at the bottom of the screen is NextLabs DRM. So that's where we have the integration of the NextLabs DRM solution with Teamcenter. We have a plugin, basically an add-on, which is running on the Teamcenter server, and which provides this DRM protection to files inside Teamcenter. So she can click this menu item, and what happens is there is a translation request that's being created, and then the NextLabs solution applies the DRM protection to the data set that she had selected. And then here's what you get. You get a new data set. You see car body with there's a new blue icon, which indicates that the file is now DRM protected going forward. And you can also see if you look at the data type on the upper right corner, it says now NextLabs protected. So the data type has been changed from UGPart to the NextLabs DRM protection. What happened in the background when we apply the DRM protection with the NextLabs solution is we also transfer a lot of the metadata that exists in Teamcenter into this protected data set. So any information about, for example, the project the person was working on is being added to the DRM protected file. If the file had been tagged as IP, so containing confidential information, this metadata is transferred to the protected file. So that means that going forward, when those files are downloaded from Teamcenter or exported into another system, all this metadata remains with the protected data set, and basically it's persistent and will go wherever the file goes after that. So we can leverage then this metadata that has been basically attached to the data set to decide if yes or no we want to provide access to specific users, and make sure that only authorized users will be able to open the files and manipulate the files further. So, and then if she click at if you open the kind of the properties of the file, you can see the file name has been changed to toycar_body.prt.nxl. So the .nxl is the NextLabs extension indicating that the file has been protected. This this extension is completely transparent, so the file is still a .prc file, and it can be opened by native applications like NX application or some others that can open those type of CAD files completely transparently. So it would be seamless to the user. They will not even know that the file has been DRM protected. So now I'm switching to the next user, who is Joe, a design engineer working for the same company, the Atlas motor company. And what he's going to do is going to log into Teamcenter. He's going to access the same file that Sally had protected. He's going to download the file from Teamcenter, and then he's going to manipulate it further, make some edits to the file outside of Teamcenter. So he accesses the same file. He downloads the DRM protected file. So he downloaded to a share folder somewhere on the network or on his own workstation or his own laptop. He downloads the file. He exits Teamcenter, and now he has this file on his own machine, which is still again a protected file by the NextLabs DRM. And to view this file, what he just has to do, just double-clicking on the file. So he doesn't need to open any application or anything. He just double-click on the file, and the file will open automatically in the right application. So in this case, using an NX application. If Joe is an authorized user to access and view this file. So what happened in the background is there is a NextLabs client, what we call a rights management client, that verifies the privileges that Joe has on this type of document, and the client compares the privileges of Joe as well as the information that is contained in the metadata of the file. And if those match, if Joe is authorized to view this type of confidential information, then the file just opens in the native application and is being displayed in the screen. All this is done real time, and Joe doesn't even know that this validation is happening in the background. Also in the background, there's a policy engine that runs, and the policy says basically only those users with those type of information or attributes are authorized to view this type of data. So there's a lot of logic and rules that are applied in the background to check if yes or no Joe is an authorized user. So Joe is an authorized user. He is able to open the file in the NX application. He can keep on modifying it and making some edit to the file, changing things, and then he can save the file and close the NX application. So when he does that, the file is automatically re-encrypted, and the metadata is still reapplied to this edited file. So there's only one file. When it's opened in the NX application, it's still protected and the metadata is still applied. And when the file is saved and closed, there is only one file that exists on the machine. And this file is always protected at all times, and there is always the metadata that's inserted in the file. So I think that's kind of the key point of the solution, that the file is never unprotected at any point in time. And then one thing you can do as well is you can right-click on the file and check the type of permission that he has on the file. So there is a NextLabs menu item in the right-click menu, and if you check the permissions, we can see that he's authorized to view and edit the file. The first two boxes are checked. He's not authorized to print the file or to convert the file to another file format, or to extract the file, or to decrypt the file to a naked format. So the system gives him some rights, some privileges, in this case view and edit, but doesn't have the right to print the document, for example. So it's important to realize that the solution is very granular, provides privileges and rights at a very granular level, and you are able really to decide which users are authorized to do what type of actions on those documents. So then in the next section, Joe, after doing his manipulation to the file, is sending this file via email to Sandra, who is a design engineer at another company, Acme Engineering, which is a supplier to the Atlas motor company. So he's sharing this file with an external partner outside of the organization, and this partner is going to do some additional edits and modification to the file. So he's writing an email to Sandra and is attaching this toy car body CAD drawing, and he's asking Sandra to review the design document. So Sandra is receiving the email. She's copying the file to our local machine, and she's going to open this file. So same thing in her case. She just has the file on her local workstation. She can just double-click on the file, and the file will open in the right application, in the native application. So again, in this case, we are using this NX application. Depending on the file format, it could be any type of application. So she double-clicked on the file. Again, in the background, the client checks that she has the right privileges to access this file. She's authorized to view and edit the file further, and then she's granted the access to the CAD drawing. So she can keep on manipulating the file, doing some changes of color, on shapes and design and pattern to the document, and then she can save the file and exit the application. So again, in the background, what happened at that time is the file is saved and re-encrypted, and the metadata is reapplied to the modified CAD drawing. So then Sandra is going to send this email back to Joe. The only thing is she's doing a mistake. She is going to send it to Ben at a different company via email, instead of sending it to Joe, who is working at the Atlas motor company.
So Sandra is reading her email, and by mistake she's sending it to Ben. So Ben is trying to open the document that was an attachment, but is not an authorized user, so he's denied access to that document, and he's not able to view it.
Ben is receiving the email, and he doesn't know what that is, so he sees an attachment. He's copying the attachment to his workstation, and he's going to try to open the file. So he double-clicked on the file, and then what happened there, the client says, well, wait a minute, you are Ben, you don't have authorization to see files that have been tagged as IP, intellectual property, or files that have been tagged as project number 1 or project X. So in this case, Ben is denied access to the document. He's not able to open the file and view the drawings. And also he gets an error message on his screen telling him, sorry, but you are denied access to this document because you are not an authorized user. So again, in the background, the policy engine is checking the authorization, the privileges that Ben has, comparing, who is Ben, what type of attribute information he has, and what type of information there is in the metadata of the file, and then the logic decides that Ben is not authorized, and then he's not given access to the CAD drawing. And again, all of this is transparent. Ben didn't have to open a specific application to get to that point. So then going back to Sandra, she realized her mistake. She's going to send her edited CAD file to Joe as she had planned earlier. So she's going to write the same email, but then she's sending it to Joe this time, who is the proper recipient for the CAD drawing. So Joe is receiving the file, and he double-click on the document. He can modify again the file further. So again, he's an authorized user, so he was granted access to the document. He makes some modifications to the file, and then he's going to save the file and exit the NX application. And again, the file is re-encrypted, protected, and the DRM protection keeps on applying to the document. So what we have shown so far is the integration with Teamcenter. So we have a plugin that's running on the Teamcenter server that provides this automated DRM protection in the PLM system. And we also have shown how people are authorized to access the documents outside of Teamcenter, even though the file is protected if they have the proper privileges to the document, while people who don't have those privileges will not be able to do anything with the document and will not even be able to view the document. And so I think it's important to mention that if the file is being forwarded by email to somebody outside of the company or is being shared on the USB memory stick or uploaded to a FTP site somewhere else, the file is always protected at all times, and only the authorized user will be able to access those documents. So now let's talk about reporting and monitoring. So the idea that we provide with this functionality is to give some visibility into the data activity, especially around sensitive information or confidential information that our customers have in their organization. So we have Bob, who works in the information security department. He works for the Atlas Motor Company, and he gets a notification from the system. So, for example, an email telling him where there was some suspicious activity. Somebody tried to open a protected document that they were not supposed to. So what he does, he can log into the reporting and monitoring tool, to view exactly what happened. So this tool is also part of the NextLabs DRM solution. So he logs into to the tool. It's a web-based application, so you connect via a web browser. And what he can see there, he can see a series of dashboards that tells him, who were the users that tried to open what type of documents in the past 30 days, in the past 60 days, in the past 12 months, what type of files were being accessed. So it gives you the file name of the documents that people were trying to open, and it also tells you what policies were enforced at the time. So was the data protected as an intellectual property document? Was it an export compliance type of regulation? Any type of policies that would apply to the document? All this information is being reported here into this application. Also, it tells you obviously who are the users, what time of the day the people who are trying to access this data, and what was the outcome of the action, right? If they were trying to open a document, were they authorized to access the document, or were they denied access to that file? Were they authorized to print the document, if that's what they were trying to do? Were they trying to copy the file somewhere else? Any type of action on a document, the solution can track, log, and can bring back into the reporting tool. So here we are showing that one of the policies that was applied to a specific set of data. Here we show the file type that was accessed by a person, and maybe that the access was denied for that person. You can also see a list of all the different actions that were performed in the past 60 days or the past 12 months, and who are the users that were trying to access what file, and what was the outcome of the policy. You can dig more into details about the data activity, so you can see which IP address the person was using at the time when they were trying to access the file, which application they were using to try to open the document, as well as what machine were they using, what tagging or certification was applied to the document. Was it a document classified as intellectual property? Was it classified as confidential? Any type of information that was applied to the file in the metadata, all this information is being reported to the system. And then Bob or whoever is in charge of this monitoring tool can create reports based on the data activity, so can select a period of time and create some nice PDF reports that can be exchanged or shared with other people inside of the company or even outside of the company. You can create pie charts and any type of charts that are available in the dashboard. And you can also create monitors and alerts in the system. So that's the alert that Bob saw in the first place, kind of telling him that there was some suspicious activity in the system. So you can put in place some monitors saying, for example, if a specific document that was classified as confidential has been accessed more than 5 times a day and the access was denied more than 5 times today, then this can trigger an alert in the system, and this alert can be sent via email to a specific person, or can just be flashed in the dashboard in the application. And the type of monitor can be whatever you want based on the policy. So it can be if somebody has been trying to download a huge amount of data, of protected data, over a short period of time, this can trigger an alert as well. If somebody has been trying to download several files that were protected and classified as confidential, this can also trigger an alert in the system and generate an automated notification. So here what you see on the screen is one of the alerts that was triggered, which is a spike in access denied for a specific file that was classified as project number 1. So that was most of the demo that we wanted to show today. Maybe another kind of functionality that we wanted to talk about is what we call the zero client. So what you've seen so far was using the rights management client, which is a NextLabs client that's running in the background in the system or on the workstation or the desktop of the end user. We also have a zero client functionality, which means you don't need to install any NextLabs software. You can just use a web browser to view the protected documents. So nothing needs to be installed locally on the machine, on the workstation, on the laptop. And this can be useful when working, especially with external partners or suppliers, if they cannot be forced to install, a third-party software or third-party plugin, then using the web-based secure viewer, that's how we call it, to view the protected documents may be the right tool for them. So in this use case, what we show is John Tyler is an engineer, is a Teamcenter design engineer. He's been working on some sensitive design. He's protecting those designs with the NextLabs DRM in Teamcenter, and then he's sending those designs by email to Bob, who is a supplier, but who has not installed any NextLabs software. So he's sending the email to Bob. The design is about a speedboat that has been, again, encrypted and protected by NextLabs. So when Bob receives the file, he can log into, so he can open a web browser, a web page. He can log into a specific URL, which is the NextLabs secure collaboration server. He can authenticate to that server, and then he can upload the protected file that he just received by email from John. He can upload that to this web page. So he's just selecting it from his laptop or from his workstation, and he's uploading it to the web page. So what happened at that point in time? The protected file is decrypted by the NextLabs rights management server, which runs in the background in the customer organization. And the decrypted file is rendered in the web browser. So again, there is no software running locally on the workstation or on the laptop on Bob's machine. It's all done through a web browser, and that's what we call a secure viewer. Basically, you can render protected files into the web page without having to install any plugin or any software. And it is especially also useful for people using mobile devices like smartphones or tablets. If those devices support a web browser, and most of devices today do, they can use this web browser to open those protected files, and they can view those documents and those CAD drawings in the web browser on their device, even when they are mobile and on the go. So we're giving the example of Judy, who is an iPad user, and same thing, she can log into this web page, authenticate herself, and then she will be able to upload and render any document that she has received from somebody else. And so that's all what we wanted to show for the demo. So I'm going to turn it back to Jason.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, Jan, for the demo. So basically, just to summarize what we went over here, what we created is an economically efficient solution for protection of intellectual property. That was our goal. So we can systematically protect the IP inside and outside of the organization while enabling collaboration. You know, the key here is while enabling collaboration. So a lot of systems can lock things down, but this allows you to keep things open. Supports engineering data types. That's the real key here. So CAD is being able to support documents, Word docs, all the Office documents, those kind of formats is very important, but our bread and butter in PLM is engineering data types, so that's very key to support CAD, visualization, etc. Eliminates unauthorized secondary technical data transfers. This means when you send it to somebody, it prevents them from sending it to somebody else. And then finally, automatically terminates data access based on agreement time limits. There's a lot of reasons you can terminate the data access. You can do a time limit. You can do it just because some status changes, etc. But this enables that capability. So, so that is a summary of what the solution will help you do. Okay, and I think we're ready for Jan to go over NextLabs.
Sure. So just a few words about NextLabs. So we are a software company. We are headquartered in California, in San Mateo, and we are a provider of policy-driven information risk management software for large enterprises. So the DRM solution that we presented today is one of those solutions. Our focus is on data protection and data security, and we partner with Siemens, and we're extremely happy to have this partnership so that we could develop this integration with Teamcenter to be able to automatically protect files inside Teamcenter and making sure the sensitive information is protected going forward. So Siemens engineering team and the NextLabs engineering team are working together very closely to develop new features to the product, and so we'll be releasing those later this year. So I think we had a few questions during the presentation, so I'm going to go over a few of those. So there was a question from Charles who was asking, the example that we showed in the demo was with the Unigraphics dataset, the UG-part dataset, and he was asking if the same process applies for all other datasets like Word, PDF, JT, and so on. So the answer is yes, you are completely correct. This DRM solution is file type agnostic, so it can work with any file format, including all CAD formats, JT, DWG, ProE, SolidWorks, etc. It works with PDF files as well, Office files, so Word, Excel, visual diagrams, etc. So the solution can work really with any file format, and that's one of the beauty of the solution, and one of the added benefit is that we are not limited to PDF and Word, but we also cover pictures and engineering documents. There was another question asking, does the original dataset, the UG part in this example, disappear after protecting the dataset? So actually, it's a configuration thing. We provide the option to the customer either to replace the original data set with the protected one, and in that case, the original disappears, or to keep both, depending on what's more convenient to our customer. There was another question talking about the web client, the zero client or zero footprint. So does, by clicking the NXL file in the email, launch automatically the URL for security? So there are two ways to do it. The most standard way to upload to actually log into the URL and upload the file to this web page, and then that's when it will be rendered into the web page. So that's via upload, basically. And by the way, we also integrate with repositories. So, for example, if you use SharePoint or let's say Dropbox or a file share where you store those protected files, we can this URL, this portal can also connect with those, and you can access those documents from there as well. So you can also open those files from those containers or those repositories. There's also a way to embed the protected file into an HTML wrapper, and basically then you would double-click on the actual file on this wrapper, and it will automatically trigger the URL to open. So there is a way to do it, but I would say it's probably not the standard way. The most standard way is to select the file and upload it to the web page. So there was a question from Michael. Does the recipient, so I guess the recipient from the email, need the same additional DRM solution? So that's kind of there are two ways to consume protected documents. Either indeed you have the DRM client running on your machine, so the recipient has the DRM client installed, and in this case they can use this DRM client to open the files, and they can do edit. They can manipulate the file in a very advanced manner. So that's what we call the rich client. Or you can use the zero client, the zero footprint, which is a web browser solution. In this case, you don't need to install anything, so the recipient doesn't need to have any software or any plugin. But there are some limitations. It's more of a lightweight client, and it's basically view or read view only. You are able to do some comments or annotation, but you cannot do as advanced manipulation as what you would do with the rich client. And then let's see, there are a few more questions here. Okay, I think one interesting one. Where does the product get the user information? So I think we mentioned during the presentation and the demo that there is a policy engine in the background that checks the authorization and checks if the specific user is authorized to open the specific file and for example, to edit the file further or to print it. So indeed, the system needs to get access to information about the user, right? Who are they? What are their names? What are their authorization, their clearance? So the solution gets that by integrating with different systems. So Teamcenter is one of them. So any information about the user in Teamcenter, we can harvest this information and use that, when making the decision to grant access or not. We also integrate with things like Active Directory, an LDAP, even an HR management system. So we got some information about the users and the type of security clearance they have, or what group they belong to, what organization they belong to. We can collect this information from those systems, and the policy engine will leverage those attributes to the user to determine if yes or no those are authorized users for this type of information. Of course, you need to create those policies, those rules that govern the behavior, but it's typically fairly simple. All right, I think those are most of the questions we had. We'll check for maybe the remaining questions, and we'll answer those after the webinar. And I'm giving it back to you, Tiffany.
Thank you, Jason and Jan, for a great presentation. Before we end today's call, I would like to encourage all of you to reach out to Chip Fay to request a copy of our Teamcenter solution brief, or schedule a meeting with Chip, or schedule a demo. We'll be sending out the recording of this webinar in the next week, so please watch out for it. Again, thank you for joining us today. We hope this session has been informative for you. This concludes our NextLabs and Siemens webinar. Bye-bye now.